question that I want to ask you. Okay, well, we got to start off with what we're talking about, and then that's your predictions. The things that you predict for 2025 and going forward with the new president and the fact that eggs, 1 dozen, done went up now to $7. So, what do you predict for us in 2025 for the original American people?
And that's the end of my predictions. I don't make predictions, but I can tell you what I see.
That's what I'm talking about. What's your revelations?
Well, the reason why I don't do predictions is people be trying to say he a false prophet if something don't align exactly how I say it. But so far, everything I've been saying is not that I'm prophesying or I'm predicting the future. It's that they telling us ahead of time what they gonna do. I just know how to read their codes. So far, what we have on the table, Federal Reserve is gone. The United States Treasury bought the assets of the foreclosed Federal Reserve out of the bankruptcy of the United States Corporation. So the United States Treasury own all of the banks now. Well, the banks got to close down because it's also been announced that we finna go to another currency, but it's going to be backed by a substance, gold or silver, most likely. This is going to be printed through a U.S. Mint, not through the Federal Reserve. Right? We have to go back to the Republic in order to get back to the tribal. Because we got to go out the same way we came in.
Mm-hmm.
The Republic was hijacked by the bankers and the other linear royals, and they usurped the Republic and installed the corporation, and they used the blood of Crispus Attucks to write the charter or the Constitution that they used when they switched from Philadelphia as the capital to D.C. Okay, so we had to reverse it and go back, right? In 2017, there was a march of a totem pole across the land. Most of us wasn't watching because we didn't even know that had nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm.
In 2017, here it is, 6 years later, 8 years later, and it definitely got something to do with us because it's part of a collective of each tribe doing their particular part. Mm-hmm. So that one of the chiefs that's watching and seeing the tribes doing their part can put it all together and tell us what it means. So all I'm doing is putting the pieces together. These are not prophecies or predictions, right? It's just that they telling us right now that when Trump get in office, they gonna be running scared as hell.
We're gonna have a hard time.
Now, for the record, I don't care about Trump no more than I care about the tar that paved the road that I walked down. I had no intrinsic interest or value in Trump personally, but I can see he buck dancing for us. Donald J. Trump is our buck dancing cracker that we threw in there like a live grenade to tear it up from the inside. I ain't trusting at first. Why I ain't trusting? Because Hillary Clinton's a second cousin. All the motherfuckers up there related. And I didn't think he would go against the family. Apparently he didn't agree with the dirt they was doing. Most of us don't know Trump is one of them extremely nice people in real personal life. Most of us don't know that because he learned how to be the bad guy on wrestling. He called it playing the heel. Then he got to try it out and run tests as he was the apprentice. Everybody thinking the people coming to him as the apprentice. No, they trying to see how good he can fire people as the bad guy. Right? How bad can you humiliate somebody? You notice they didn't sick him on Hillary until he had 2 seasons out of Apprentice under his belt. Well seasoned. As soon as they turned him loose on it, he went to blazing her out the gate.
Leave Hillary alone.
Hillary, Hillary.
But he's in office now, right? He ain't hired nobody from what I can see, nobody of color yet. Just
That don't matter.
okay. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it don't matter though.
our savior, the next Abraham Lincoln, and I thought he'd have.
Okay, so go back to 1776. In the paintings where they got all of the pale faces in the Republic as the Constitutional Convention, they don't even put the melanated people that was present in color. They don't give them no pigment. So we doing reverse engineering. Just like they walked us into this BS, we ain't finna put our people out front no more for them to get their head chopped off and as well use them back. Mama said, turn about fair play. Right? They getting treated like shit, called poor white trash, trailer park trash, just like we call niggas. They matter of fact, they call them white niggas. They don't all get white privilege. Only the ones related to the ones that's behind the scenes pulling the string. You gotta have their blood, that draconian blood. What's the draconian blood? The secret royal families of the world. They call it draconian because it's reptilian in origin. The Dracos is the great dragon. Right? So we just seen Kendrick and Drake just do a whole Mutt and Jeff good cop, bad cop routine to get the message that they ain't like us. They look like us, but they not us. Right? So the gossip circle love the gossip, so give them a rap beef to talk about and get the point across that they not like us. That's the goal. Somebody got to be the fall guy, but we beating the dragon now.
Mm-hmm.
So we need somebody to play the wicked dragon waiting to devour the child at its birth. They playing Revelations out in what we call theatrical performances.
So we in trouble.
No, we ain't in nothing. Somebody in trouble, but it ain't us.
So, but what the main thing that I wanted to get at, because I know it's that's turn, but let me just say this: have you noticed that the prices in the supermarket have went up like in a matter of 2 weeks, like sky?
But you don't know why that is, do you?
Well,
every time, if you go around the world and look, in the last 20 years, they've had a number of economies collapse.
Exactly.
Before every economy collapse, hyperinflation kicks in. They can't meet the demand of printed dollars to the amount of money being lost. It's a hole in the bottom of the bank. They can't patch the hole. They trying to patch it with inflation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's too late because we didn't blew the hole wide open and told them to shut down shop. Now, before we can switch currencies, that's going to automatically, 1,000 of these dollars might only be a $10 bill in our currency.
Yeah, because it's just, I'm gonna let Dots go ahead, but it's ridiculous about the prices.
Right. So before you have an economic collapse, before you have economic collapse, you have hyperinflation. Every time, there's no exception. There has not been a economic collapse that wasn't preceded by hyperinflation.
Then I thought maybe today when I was in the grocery store, the reason why the prices was up because they were trying to say we were supposed to get this bad snow this weekend. So I said, are they being funny? Is it really going to snow? Because this is crazy. 1 dozen eggs, $7.
My brother said I fight at the drop of a hat and drop a hat so I can fight, right? Any excuse to get in the fight, any excuse to explain it away where regular people can't see the shenanigans. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is the Federal Reserve is gone. The Federal Reserve note is rapidly losing value. There's no more value in the U.S. currency. The Federal Reserve note currency has no more value. The U.S. Treasury bought the banks so that they can have what you call an infrastructure right, already in place to usher people money. The first thing before they start giving a bunch of sorry slobs that won't work a whole bunch of money, all of the people that was saving money and hard working, they go get their money first. And they know it by your bank account. You told on yourself. You told on yourself. So you can't say that you was working and your bank account don't reflect that.
Right.
So now the ones who can prove it, you don't even have to prove it.
Right.
When they release the money under the new currency, they're going to first have to adjust for the change in the valuation of the note. The change in the valuation of the note going to determine the ratio of exchange between Federal Reserve notes and United States Treasury notes.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing after this, that's the interim currency under the interim republic, because they was an interim government to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us think that they came over here to be a government permanently. They didn't. They only had a 200-year contract. It would have expired in 1976, but in 1812 we attacked their ass again and took them back to war. Because we was more fed up than we fed up now, and we fed up.
Mm-hmm.
And the ancestors that was around at the time, they was cut from where I'm cut. I want to fight. They keep telling me we brain banging, we ain't got it. I still want to fight. I want to shoot my pistols and flip my switches and put the enemy in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. But they want me to keep on explaining it ad nauseum until they click in our head that this is already our shit. We don't have to fight for it. All we have to do is wake up and be aware. So when the currency switch, now you got also, because the banks collapsed and you had to wait 2 days, 3 days, 7 days for your money for the banks to sort it out the transfer rates and reactivate y'all accounts under the new system, they got to pay you what's called a penalty or a suffrage penalty, because you're supposed to automatically have.
So you're right with that US dollar piece, right? Because it definitely is obsolete. And anytime there's an economy that crashes, right, those precious metals, they always reign supreme. They never lose its value. Gold, silver, those types of things. So I would tell anybody in terms of investment or what have you, instead of saving it the traditional way, if you can't purchase something that's going to increase equity, purchasing like gold, especially, it's key. Is real key. That's real important. It never loses its value. But you know how, right. You know how 2024 was supposed to like mark the age of like stepping into Aquarius.
Yeah.
And 2025, the idea is supposed to be like a deeper dive into what was revealed coming into the age of Aquarius, right? So I guess 2024 would be like the transition year into the age of Aquarius, and 2025 is supposed to be like the full manifestation of what that was in 2024.
Which is full disclosure.
In your face. No more hiding, no more.
Yeah, they've been doing it too.
Absolutely.
They've been doing it. Remember, okay, so a few of the things that they've disclosed is the fact that this a big ass mothership right out here outside of our ability to see it, because it uses the sun to cloak. They told us about another ship that's under the water. Both of them releasing baby ships. This was in the Senate hearings. Go back and listen to them.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
They mentioned all of that. They also said that all of these beings are not extraterrestrial, that some of them are interdimensional. Meaning they jumping from timeline to timeline, reality to reality. This has been disclosed in Senate hearings.
And how long ago? It wasn't that much long ago that if anybody ever said that they know or they have identified or they've seen that there is extraterrestrials or there is life, outside of Earth or whatever, you would consider crazy, conspiracy theorists, X, Y, and Z, and now here we are.
So look at the word conspiracy theorist. A theorist or is a scientist. Before he can present something for academic study, he comes up with a theory first, right? He's a theorist at that point. When he put it on paper as a proposal, right? Now he's no longer a theorist, he's a hypothesis. Because now other people can peer review his work and run the experiments necessary to determine if the perspective was accurate. Right? So he comes with a hypothesis. Right? So when Einstein came up with E equals MC squared, he was just a theorist. That's why it's just a theory. He got an idea that that E equals MC squared. Energy equals mass times 2 at the speed of light. Right? Gives us matter. Anyway, so when he came up with that, he came up with a theory. Then he wrote a proposal on his theory and a thesis on his theory. Right? Now it's being peer reviewed by other scientists around the world from different backgrounds. Right? And this is where you come up with your secondary unified field theory, all things being connected.
Right.
Right? In the scientific method, you have to have 3 separate experiments with separate control factors that produce the same result before it'll be called a working theory. But it still is not solidified as a fact. Why? Einstein came up with something called spooky action at a distance.
Yeah.
And the spooky action at a distance is what's called the observer effect in modern physics. So that's why they can't say it's a fact, because the observer changes it by the perception and how he sees it.
Like the holographic kind of principle, that holographic universe theory principle.
Yeah.
Right?
So in the holographic view, all things is every part has all of the information of the whole. So that's why they say, man, know thyself. Why? Because once you know thyself, you go, as a man, you're going to be like, damn, that mean the woman guy. If I know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And now we going to have an ego conflict with the undeveloped male. The ego conflict is going to come in where now he has to prove that as a man, he's fit to rule over his woman. He lost already. Because the woman gives you permission to rule, period. You don't come on Earth and hijack the mitochondria and you don't have a consequence, no matter how long it takes for the consequence to get here. As soon as the collective of the women realize what's taking place and break from the slumber, it's over for the frauds. A lot of these guys going to be turned the F off. Period. The male population is finna drastically decrease.
It's already. The homosexuality piece is massive.
A lot of them go about to have their mitochondria turned off.
It's that crazy. And even even with that piece of just having like the truth in front of you, because I know like with Trump, what have you, we had Miss Jane Elliott on last night, and so she was just expressing that she's very afraid of what's to come in the future because, Trump is so bad and my point was just like, it's always been bad. And to be honest with you, I think the shock value is that Trump is just full disclosure, full exposure in your face, right? So yes, there's nepotism, obviously. Yes, there's corruption, obviously, but that has always gone on in politics.
Okay, so why should we be more scared of this 4 years than we were his first 4 years?
Right, like what is the all of that like humdrum about? I'm just really
okay. And then not only that, do the comparative analysis for the 4 Biden years versus the 4 Trump years, and which one of them would you have running the country the next 4 years? Mm-hmm. It's no, all of the fear factors, that's directly from them people that's invading the land that don't never want us to stand up and be who we are. That fear shit don't work on me. And
most of this country was built on immigrants and immigration, and
no, that's the lie. That we built this motherfucker. Been building it since building began because we started building here first. Before it was a building in Africa, we was building in Mesoamerica. Before it was a building in China, we was building in the Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was a building in Japan or India, we was building in Titicaca.
Yep.
So don't come over here and tell me somebody else built what we've been built. They try to take that so they could say it was no royalty on the land, and that the way that the chiefs was running the land, you couldn't tell who was the leader and who wasn't because everybody word mattered. Tater matter.
Crazy. Nah, and it's like, what are y'all talking about here? And then even sorry, Niche, it's my last piece. But with 2025 coming, because I feel it like energetically, right? It does feel heavy, the energy that's around, right? It is clear as day that the only thing that anybody should be doing is moving forward, but don't do it out of fear or don't do it in fear, right? Because at the end of the day, like you were just saying, it's in your face. The information is out there. Prepare yourself accordingly. You understand what I'm saying? Like really prepare yourself accordingly. Don't let that fear kind of get into the picture because then it'll sort of shake you up. But what do you think of these natural, as we call it, disasters, like the fire that started in California?
I haven't seen any natural disasters lately.
And they, especially with California and a lot of the celebrities.
There was no natural disaster.
Yes, please talk about it.
All you got to do is go look at Hawaii and go back and look at California again. That's not a natural disaster. Then they got arsonists. They've been rounding up arsonists like they've been rounding up drug dealers. Where did they come from? Who paid them to do it? Because it ain't that many firebugs just roaming around.
And then the small bush that they showed that started this fire, this evacuation, this emergency, right? The small bush destroyed, decimated. I mean, how much land?
Whatever it is, it was planned.
It doesn't make sense. That you can't sit here and say that was a natural disaster. No.
Whatever it was planned.
No.
The foundation of the plan lies in the cutting back of the fire personnel, the fire department funding, cutting back on the inlet of water during what's called a drought season, right? You're supposed to be adding more water, not reducing the amount of water, right? Then you have insurance companies canceling fire insurance. They cut that whole arm off. That's a whole lot of money.
We no longer, yes.
Right? So the insurance companies is investigating what the government doing, so because they got to hedge they bet. They ain't gonna never bet on the losing horse. They only gonna bet on the winner. And the insurance companies is quick to be like, we ain't paying that out. It was a natural disaster. Right? They didn't pay out in Hurricane Katrina. They got people in New Orleans right now still waiting on their payout. Still living with their auntie and their big mama, and the government keeps sending them these letters talking about their payout coming. You ain't forgot about you. But they ain't gave it to them. And how long Katrina was?
A few years ago, I want to say 3 years ago. I forget the hurricane name, but it was deemed, it qualified under a natural disaster. My house, the basement flooded really bad. Mm-hmm. And so go through insurance or what have you. And my damages came out to be like 18,500. Like I think the assessor said like 18,500, right? My insurance, my homeowner's insurance, they cut a check for 10,000, right? But because I guess it qualified under FEMA
relief, yeah,
right, that I was supposed to be able to also get get money to help pay for the damages or whatever because I qualified. Well, apparently those were lies because the requirements stated, or what I was told, was that because my homeowner's insurance had already cut the check for 10,000, that pretty much that's all you're going to receive. So I guess you can't. But even though under the requirements to apply for FEMA, even if you have homeowner. I qualified, and it was the homeowners, the assessor that came and was like, yeah, and apply for the FEMA. They was like, no, we can't give you any more money. So yeah, no, it's a trick. It's all trickery.
Right. FEMA right now was in the internal conflict between deep state players and tribal leadership. Tribes seized FEMA years ago, but FEMA won't be functional under the old system. The cabal, the deep state, whatever we want to call them, the Illuminati, whatever name you want to give them, the people that's been pulling the strings still have players that need to be caught. So every time FEMA dropped a ball, they did it on purpose in order for somebody to get trapped. They know it's that before they go out, they're gonna cause maximum chaos. We already know that. We expect it. It's the same as you tell your neighbor child to get out your house and he throw a tantrum on his way out. Long as he go out, he gonna tear something up. They play on a higher level because they leave casualties and bodies in their wake when they cause chaos. They use emotionally polarizing events and sensationalism to keep people in a state of fear, which prolongs their control. Soon as we recognize what they're doing and it don't work on us no more, they can't have our fear as the source of their purpose of staying.
Mm-hmm. They
can't be justified with the fear no more. That's why they put fear around everything. That's called in mysticism, that's called the barrier of no pass. Because most people, when they run into the barrier of fear, they go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just one of them people that be like, what is this I'm feeling?
Right.
Who causing this energy to come this way?
You feel it. It's heavy. It's heavy.
And I end up on the other side of fear talking about, this ain't shit.
That's right. That's right.
It's just a whole bunch of sensationalized hype.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right, Niche.
I wanted to go back and talk about I guess I could call it the reconstruction of the banking system now.
Mm-hmm.
Since they want to, because I did hear about the wanting to make the silver and gold new currency. So where would that leave, in your opinion, Rod? Where would that leave us as far as in investments, 401k, stock market? Should we take all our money out the banks, put it under the mattress?
Okay.
What should we do?
That's more of a personal preference, because so many of us, like my father and them, didn't trust the stock market because of 1929. He wasn't even born yet. But that's the same excuse most of the people in the South give you why they don't trust the stock market. Most people don't trust the banks because of the outlaws, the bank robbers that have been sensationalized as these professional bank robbers that went against the government. They was working this economic hitman to shut the local banks down. So people stopped using the banks. Big Mama shut her banks down. So this is what gave an opening for a central banking cartel to weasel their way in. We still had banks, but they was separated. They wasn't together because all of our banks used to be family banks. Every family was under a family banking system, and we didn't have centralized banking. So they wreaked terror on all of our local banks to make us shut them down, because we're not going to just let you keep taking our money. So when the bank shut down, that's why some of our cousins is rich and they don't know where the money came from. They was bankers. And the family bankers, they normally tag the daughter and name her Ruth because she's the one with the heritable right of the family bank. Right? So when the new banking system emerge, it's going to be replacing the old fiat, reverse engineering the creature from Jekyll Island, the internal revenue codes, all of that stuff got to go. Everything that was complained about in the original Declaration of Independence is the same grievance that we have today. The grievance didn't even change. But ain't nobody asking why the grievance didn't change. It's still staying. That's why they never took the Declaration of Independence out of circulation. Because they letting you know that if you see these events, this is how you know you being occupied by an enemy. Right? Excessive taxation. Taxation without representation. Right? Excessive laws on the books where people can't function.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All of the stuff that we dealing with right now is the same reason why the colonists wanted to separate from England. Right? So they get a 200-year contract to do business separate from England, and England infiltrated and took them over using secret societies. Primarily the Scottish Rite. So when they come in and they do that, most of the people don't know they fighting the system with the system. That's like trying to shoot at your enemy with the gun pointed at yourself. You can't fight the system with the system that don't belong here in the first place. You ain't gonna never win. They'll tell you in a ruling that you're right, that the United States is a corporation. And when they get done, all they got to do is put this word MOOT to your arguments, and it's like you ain't never said nothing. And they do have cases on the books where somebody using the law and they absolutely right, but the judge say that the ruling is moot, and then don't give them any relief. I read plenty of those cases where they tell him he right all the way through his appeal, but then when it come time to rule on it, his arguments became moot. So they declined to issue a ruling on his behalf. That's a rigged system. They just don't want thinkers running around in the neighborhood infecting other people with some stuff called critical thinking. Because then we start seeing cultural behavior being criminalized by a foreign agency or system. So we got to reverse engineer everything that was done coming into this mess. We had to see it going out. Now we at the 1776 mark, where the Republic was taken over between 1776 and 1783 with the secondary constitution. This is the struggle to get us from under the Admiralty back under the Republic jurisdiction so that they can surrender it back to tribal jurisdiction, the great law, the law of the land, aka the common law. And then the tribal courts be reenacted, and you had chiefs that's presiding in the tribal court according to his ability to administer law. And the best person for the job is who gets the job.
That's something. That is something. Now I'm gonna ask this question because I know this has been going. I'm gonna move me down here so you can see, and then as we go along, I'm gonna move it over because for some reason this sign is up here and it's stopping us from being seen. So I'll move it around as we go around. Once my question is asked, I'll move niche back. Okay, right. I'm predicting, and I'm gonna say it, that we're gonna have some crap going on. And the reason why I'm saying it is because my mortgage company sends me a statement with $200 extra on my mortgage. And so, okay, I'm like, is this a late fee? I'm trying to figure it out. What's going on? Where is this $200 coming from? Well, they done put up the taxes and the home insurance. I don't know if you experienced it yet or what have you, but around the globe, I started asking people, did your mortgage go up? My mortgage went up $200, not $50, not $200. And that's the reason why I'm saying that we are going to have an issue, because they're saying because taxes went up and they have to charge us more now for mortgage. Eggs $7, and I'm sorry they have to keep saying it, but it frustrated me so bad this afternoon in the supermarket. You don't find that to be like weird out of nowhere, saying the property value went up in my house, I got too much equity, all kinds of stuff, anything to push it up to that $200. And it's almost like no way around it.
You got to ask them to show you where in the contract you agreed to them to be able to raise your mortgage without notice.
And then I find, and I don't know if anybody knows this, it's called tax assessor. I call them, right? For some people, you can be exempt from tax. I never knew this, but in arguing with the mortgage company, they said, yeah, my mortgage went up. So I don't think it's at a fixed rate, because for some reason it can go up. I just read something in the chat. But you can be exempt from some taxes. So they just sent me the application to have me exempt from some certain taxes in this area, and it also includes what area you live in as well. If you live in a somewhat nice area, they'll start putting these taxes on you. Like, what the easy? So I'm just saying, I think that everybody that's experiencing that should check that.
Yeah,
That's a problem. That's an issue.
okay.
And,
Now, what happened? What happened when the rollout comes for the collapse of the banks? The bottom falls out of the mortgage industry. They already been told, both auto loans and house loans, where mortgages are, have been already instructed to find ways to liquidate those mortgages. In other words, get that property to them people and stop making them pay. But they're not going to do it until they forced to do it, because they still believe they running something. They not running nothing no more. So yeah, they gonna raise your mortgage. They might do a whole bunch of other stuff. That's part of the chaos.
Right. I'm going to look into the fixed rate situation, because that don't make no sense.
Well, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, under fixed rate, they're not supposed to be able to raise your mortgage, especially without your consent. They normally give you a MOU, memorandum of understanding, to sign as an addendum to the contract.
I know. I'm going to look into the rate situation come Tuesday, because schools and everything is closed on Monday. So I'm going to look into that, because I don't know what's going on. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I think what's happening is that, right, so a lot of people put in the, hey, Sakina, baby, about the fixed rate or adjustable rate mortgage. So yeah, for sure. So like, make sure you should know if you have like an adjustable rate mortgage, which means that depends on the interest rate, it fluctuates, right? Or your fixed rate. Like I have a fixed rate mortgage, but my payments definitely increase because of the homeowner's insurance. Yes. That's what they get you. It's not that right. So the my monthly payment increased because of the damn homeowner's insurance. And then what they do is, remember I was telling you the story about me flooding or whatever. So I got a notice a few months later at the end of the year.
Did they make you get the flood insurance? Did they make you get that?
I already had it in my policy. I was already paying for that. That's how I was able to get the check for $10,000 in my homeowner's insurance. But what they did was, because they cut the check, and gave me the $10,000, they increased my homeowner's insurance, which increased the overall monthly payment, so that's how it kind of went up. But yeah, it's crazy.
Which is penalizing you for utilizing your insurance.
The money that I'm paying.
Exactly.
They do that because what they're trying to do is
went up because of the taxes, and then they had the nerve to say that they came around, checked my house, and the value of my house went up. So if you bought your house at 150, now my house is worth like 340.
That ain't supposed to affect your mortgage. That ain't what you didn't get a loan for that.
Sure enough letter.
Yeah, but
All of that was in my letter.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
sad.
but okay. So let's say in 1973, the house I'm in was a $30,000 house.
Yes. Oh,
But right now, listen. Right now, the house is $107,000 house. Okay, now if I had got a mortgage back in '73, they can't adjust that rate for me to be paying today's prices when that wasn't what the market was when I purchased the property. They taxing on the inflation for the dying dollar. The dollar don't have the same value. It's not that your property went up. The value of the dollar went down. So in order for them to even keep something close to what they're using you to patch them holes.
Yes, that's how I feel. Exactly what you're saying. And I'm saying it just simply because you could, this is weird. They got anywhere in the county, because I live in the county. Anywhere they can make money, they're going to do it. If you want to do something to your house, it's your house. You got to pay them to come to your house to check what it is that you did. You notice that, Dots? Like if you want to put a deck on your house.
Yeah.
Or you want to build like a anything. You have to, even if you got a professional to do it, you got to let them know.
Yeah, you need a permit.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you need. Anytime you do upgrade on your house, you need a permit.
Yep. Niambi had mentioned about
Hey Niambi, girl.
Hey Niambi, I see y'all coming in here. What's up, y'all? About she was mentioning about that you could pay your loan and your taxes separately. I mean, excuse me, your homeowner's insurance or whatever separately. But in the state of New York, you cannot.
Do it.
One bill. Your homeowner's insurance, at least especially in my county, your homeowner's insurance is already added into your monthly payment.
That's how mine is.
You have to do it that way, unfortunately. But my question to you, Rod, is switching gears a little bit about the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, right? So just real quickly, I'm gonna share my screen, just to everyone knows about the Second Amendment.
Between the conflict between the people and the corporation. They supposed to make sure that the Constitution keeps the corporation in check. The problem is the purpose is not actually what they doing. Because they are bar members, they following the edicts from the first bar that was established by King George in Savannah, Georgia. Right, and the orders is in the charter. Take everything with them using the agency of law. So this is where your RICO Act comes from. Because if they can't convict you of a crime, they hit you with the RICO Act and take all your assets. All they got to do is convict you of a misdemeanor that fell under the RICO statute.
That RICO Act has been and was diabolical. You hear me? It's like in terms of effects, especially in Harlem. I mean, I don't, like in my family alone, I don't know not every single male in my family have did some type of time, whether that was Fed time, state time, or whatever, or some RICO Act. And it was so ill, and in your face with it. I remember like in that and this was under no less the Democrat Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, who was presumed to be the quote unquote first black president. You know how, black people love Bill, y'all. We love Bill. But even if they said that they suspected you, something as simple as you could be throwing up 2 letters like this, like, yo, what's up, peace, or what have you, that is enough, right? To say that you are gang affiliated. Huge. That RICO, huge. They did it was on a few years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago, and in the projects I grew up in Harlem or what have you. It was a huge gang takedown bust or whatever. It was all over the news, right? Under this RICO Act. It's been diabolical in terms of its effect on our men in particular.
And it was originally written, they say, to fight the mafia. Okay, what do mafia mean in English?
My people.
It means the family.
Yeah.
Look at it again. It was created to fight against the mafia, but mafia means family. We know, according to the biblical reference, that they was breaking up the families. We know this. It's not a secret.
I like that connection, right?
Right? So if the families is the tribes, because the tribes was normally family. And that's why we tend to gravitate toward each other, because we gravitate to the ones on the same frequency we is. Right? So the whole RICO was to ensure that none of the tribal leaders can functionally establish a working tribal network without violating the RICO laws. Because we got to get it from the dirt. You got to remember that part. We got to get it from the dirt. We're not allowed to participate in corporate America's affairs as a tribe. So if you get a chief coming up, they have to use the RICO Act to seize his assets, to cripple his structuring, organizing, and the payment of the members of his clan. Right? So that's what they call in the crucifixion story the renting of the royal garment, the separating of the royal family, the fabric of the family, the royal garment, the robe. Right? The purple robe. That's the blood and the right, the blue and the red. So when we understand that they know that they attacking us, but they not telling us, they just issued a warrant. The war rent. This a continuation of the original declaration of war against the tribes of the land. When they say it's a war rent, we already know it's a tie to the original land warrant issued as the Plymouth crash. But we ain't land on Plymouth Rock like they said. Plymouth Rock landed on us. If you don't believe me, ask Brother Malcolm. So while we dealing with being waged war against by individual basis, we don't even know we need to join forces and fight back. Because they only attacking one. And you look at your paperwork and say the people of the state of Michigan, you mean that it pissed off everybody in the state? Named Dieter. And he was saying they coming to get me. This is who he talking about. They in his file too.
Oh, Michael.
And Keith, what's his name? Keith Carradine? No, not Keith Carradine. Anyway, if you look up Star Whackers, they known they known as Star Whackers in Hollywood. That's what they call them. Because if the entertainer don't play ball, that's who they seeing. But they niggas. They look like us, but they ain't us.
Them dirty Moors. Like you always call them. Niche, get on in, baby.
It was one of them Hebrew Israelite niggas that killed Martin Luther King's mother, shot her in the face in church.
Oh my God.
Pull it up. I ain't making this up.
Hebrew Israelite?
Pull it up. Hebrew Israelite kills Martin Luther King's mother. Pull it up. I'm not making this up. We've been fighting these niggas the whole time, and they got us thinking that pale face mean white. That was the biggest trick they played on us.
So what does it mean?
It means, if you look it up in Black's Law Dictionary, it means it say they Moors.
Pale face mean Moors.
Go to
let's talk about prophecies for a second. It ties into what he was just saying. If you go with the Bible says that the prophet, it goes into Deuteronomy, where they say, "Oh, this prophet from God." If you know, we can get into that. But when I went to go look up I looked up in the NBA to see has any player that never missed a shot, and it was no player that never missed a shot. And there was only one player that had 1% accuracy, and his name was Ahmed. Right, and I thought about Muhammad. Right, he only shot one shot his whole career, and he hit that one shot. He was 100%. It was only one guy. Then I looked up how many people in the NBA, the National Baseball League that never struck out. Everybody struck out. It was nobody ever went to the league that never got struck out. So, and no quarterback in the NFL is 100% accurate. So, I guess this brings to my next point. And not to add to that, Babe Ruth, the same year, I think it was 1921, where he had the most home runs in that year. 1923, I think it was. He also had the most strikeouts in that same year. You know what I'm saying? But this is my question: are all prophecies 100% accurate? Are they subject to change? Or is there some stipulate? Because I don't know nobody that's 100% accurate in life. You gonna people make go ahead.
Okay, when you're talking about prophecies, first of all, who given this prophecy? These not prophecies. The reason why they look so accurate is because they're not prophecies. They are plans, schematics, blueprints with markers to let you know what part of the conquest has been successfully completed. When you following the prophecies, you following the plans of the one who wrote the plan. But it's never the person they told you it was. Like, they give Albert Pike the credit for Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike probably 9 out of 10 didn't even write that himself.
He wasn't that intelligent. He was satanic, but he studying his work. Yeah, so it had to be a group, or they put that together, a whole group. I think the Scottish Rites.
They don't know if to be a group, but it's the reason why I say that is because the way you control information. Remember, everybody didn't know how to read. Less than 1% of the population of any society at any given time was able to read until modern times. Who was responsible for recording the deeds of the king? Do you remember?
It would be the scribes, right? His scribes?
Yeah, the scribes.
Right.
And at one point, only scribes knew how to read and write. And the king, of course, he had to learn how to be a scribe in order to be a king or a ruler. Right? Okay, now, if the only people was writing was the scribes, what about the peasants in the field? They weren't writing nothing?
Go ahead.
They was telling the stories around the campfires at night. And the stories carried on and became the oral tradition. So you got both sides of the story. The ones who wrote and the ones who told the story on what we call the hot gossip line. Right? And so we got the grid tales, and then you have your written story. The written story is the plan of those who's doing the writing. Or instructing somebody to write. That's their instruction. Now we got to figure out how to code it, right? We code it under the pretense of prophecy. But you notice the word prophet exists within the word prophecy. Right? But not only does the word prophet exist, the word prophet exists. So now it's tied to the banking system because the prophet got to generate profits. Go ahead. In order for him to maintain his 501c3 status. Skull and bones. Oh, man. Now, look, 501c3. Phi mean change omega to alpha. C is 3, and 3 is 3, which is 33. The master. It's all coded. It's in our face, behind our back. Man. We just don't know their language. It's all CIA, KGB, Mossad, all of the secret spy networks have access to it. That's why they pick up a newspaper. They don't see the same thing you see.
Right? They see the codes.
They pick up the paper that says man landed on the moon. You know what they see?
What
It's
they,
an invasion about to take place in a rocky terrain in the Far East.
yeah.
Right? We looking at the moon in an invasion. They looking on Earth in a whole nother direction. They still telling the story. They put it in your face because it ain't up to them to tell you what it means. It's up to you to figure it out. And if you don't teach yourself how to think, you'll never figure it out. And the ones that think they know how to think, but think the ones actually doing the thinking is insane, is the worst of them all because they are delusional.
Mm-hmm.
And they telling the whole rest of the people that the ones that doing the thinking don't know what they talking about and that they delusional, which is misdirection. The world is a stage. We are just actors.
Right.
If you don't see the misdirection, then you're going to be trapped in the illusion. David Copperfield didn't make the airplane disappear. He just made you think it disappeared.
Mm.
If he can make you think it disappeared, he don't have to make it disappear.
Yeah.
Because now you accepted that it disappeared, meaning that the illusion was successful because you didn't believe he could trick you and you got tricked.
Hmm. Interesting.
That's how street times work. We call money. The shuffle game, the 3 shells in the ball. All that's sleight of hand. That's all illusion. And some people always fall for the illusion. Yeah, trickery in the first degree. The 120 degrees of trick knowledge that Jacob gave them. Remember, they rule by trick knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is the knowledge of trickery and how to deceive.
Right.
They tell you that the devil is a deceiver. What is his greatest deception? He had to make you think that he the God you worshiping, and all the time you worshiping him.
Go ahead.
This is the greatest deception ever played on men. To make man think that man is less than what man truly is. Therefore, you can never reach your potential because you don't know your potential is as high as it is, so you limit how high you jump. Like fleas in a jar. Second generation won't jump. When you take the jar off, they won't jump higher than the lead.
Right. That's right.
And you keep low,
like puppies.
and you keep lowering the lid, they jump lower and lower.
Boy,
Until you can actually fall without a lid open. That's teaching you to endure suffering. Because oppression is atmospheric. You can only be depressed to the degree in which you are strong enough to take the oppression.
Uh-huh.
The strongest people have been oppressed the longest because they can take it the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that allowed the people that's in the appearance of power go through a catharsis where they can burn off all of their negativity by abusing the ones that they think is the weak ones, and all the time they ain't weak, they the strongest ones. That's why they at the bottom, because they got to hold up the system.
Right.
Right? But they only got to hold it up until they get tired of holding it up. And whenever they get tired of holding it up collectively, then they just all stand up and flip the table.
Right.
Right? But most of them don't know that all of the rest of them is ready to flip the table, so somebody got to tell everybody. So maybe one of the corners, one of the legs, a 7 or something, gonna start flipping around the bottom of the board to tell y'all all you gotta do is stand up. Talking to the wind, Ezekiel's
Hey,
army.
bro. This might be a little off. Before I roll this next clip, a question for you. Yo, can you hear me, Rod? What the heck? Oh yeah, so here's my question, man. Before we go to roll that, Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
One thing, before we finish with the conclusion to that. So,
Go ahead.
all our prophecies is true to the degree in which the person responsible for executing a part of the plan executes.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody is missing from the equation, then the prophecy, like for instance, Charles Russell predicted the end of the world like 5 times. And he's still here.
Yeah.
Now, he probably would have been right if he wouldn't have told nobody, they wouldn't have adjusted for it. But when he told people, they adjusted for it, which prevented it from happening.
You're here. Hey, so maybe
Right.
he was supposed to tell him.
Yeah, so the prophecy is only as accurate as the person carry out their portion of the plan that leads up to the fulfillment of that prophecy. If any one person don't carry their load, it don't be accurate. But most of the time they carry their load, so the prophecy appears to be pretty accurate. And then history repeats itself. So once you see where the gap at, you know where to plug the hole. Pick the weakness in the game, you sew it up.
Hey, now this is my next question. And this might be looked up, but I think it ties into right now. Now I saw this concert where the rapper NBA Youngboy, man, he had to have at least 70, 100,000 young guys in there. Like everybody had ski masks on their head. And they might have got in there with the blick. Look like they all had blicks in the car if they ain't have them on them. And then while he was rapping, they all like they was gonna leave there to go smoke somebody. Now with the power that he got, then they got him hit off in Utah with a black hand got one of they got the compounds that they call themselves the Mormons. That's their cover name, right? But what power could he if he was to change? Or what type of control do he got, man? Like to have that many people in there jumping around like that with the ski mask on, ready to go. Like he really dangerous for our, like if he was to turn on them and say, you know what, we finna go, the people that so-called enslaved our people, we know that's a bunch of crap now. But he was to turn his energy and say, you know what, they watching him like a hawk, man, because he got too many control over too many young crazy dudes, man. What you think about that, right? Before we click on this next clip.
All it is a tribal faction that's following their leader.
Okay.
Right? The leader